Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the maximalist era of running shoes. The stacks are astronomically high, and it is more, especially where money's concerned. Today, I have a comparison that compares two shoes that are nothing alike at all in one specific way. I have with me the Brooks Glycerin Flex, which I ran in yesterday for the very first time, twice. And I have the Anta C202, a fan favorite. Okay, I know, weird comparison, right? This is a extremely flexible, nitrogen-infused EVA shoe from Brooks, a very stable, well-known, well-regarded, conservative running shoe company. The Anta C202 is from Anta. They're a very large company in China, but they're relatively obscure in the American market, though they're making headroads into it. This is a carbon-plated speed trainer with a highly energetic nitrogen-infused TPEE, and it's a lot of fun. These shoes could not be more different, and the way that they couldn't be more different is rigidity. This is a very stiff, very rigid shoe, can't be bent at all, and the Brooks Glycerin Flex, you could flex it right in half. So that's the point of comparison that I'm making between the two, and that's what's going to thematically tie this whole video together. My ambition is that this video goes beyond just that surface level difference, right? So I'm going to give a little bit of background on the Brooks Glycerin Flex. I was extremely excited to receive this shoe. I wanted to run in it because once upon a time in high school, I got really into minimalist running, even had a pair of Vibram 5 fingers, which by the magic of YouTube are right here. I still have them. Check it out, toe shoes. At the time, I was really fascinated with minimalist and more traditional styles of running, especially running barefoot. And so it was in that spirit that in the back of my head, somewhere in the deep-reaching part of my personal identity, I wanted to try the Brooks Glycerin Flex. I was excited about it. I know it's a weird shoe to be excited about, but the fact that Brooks was incorporating some of the philosophy behind minimalism, if not done in a minimal package, to bring to a wider market, I think is a really good idea, and I would love to see more of. One way that I would love to see more of this in the future is a company like Ultra creating a zero drop shoe with a real super foam, like is in the Anta, or even something more energetic than what's in the Anta, like get some ZoomX, get some beaded PIBA in an Ultra, get something other than really boring foam. Right, so these are ways that I could see minimalism trickle into the current marketplace, but that's why I was so excited to try the Brooks Glycerin Flex. And I have a review up on my page as of yesterday. I'll link in the description below. So that's how I came to the Brooks Glycerin Flex. The Anta C202, I believe I just went on their website and saw a $130 carbon-plated speed trainer with full super foam. And I was like, well, I gotta just buy it. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I hardly remember how I came to this shoe, but it wasn't after a hype cycle built up or anything. In fact, hardly anybody really is talking about the shoe outside of a handful of reviewers here on YouTube. So yeah, great shoe. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Probably a lot of you that have been following along with the channel have seen me enjoying this. If you're new here, welcome. This is a great shoe. Yesterday, I had a challenging run in the Brooks Glycerin Flex, and it runs deeper than just shoes for this. It's a philosophy on shoes. It's like, this is a flexible, attempting to incorporate a more natural foot strike. And I know for all of the minimalists out there, this is not a minimalist shoe. It is 36 in the heel, 30 in the forefoot for a 6 mil drop. It is a big chongus by weights because this upper is tank-like, both in a good way and in a bad way, in the sense of it's very heavy, but it's also very comfortable. So it's not minimalist at all. But at least they're taking something from what it would be like to run barefoot, in that this is a more flexible platform, right? So that's what I was excited about this. But the run yesterday was challenging, and it was challenging probably because my calves over the series of running in a lot of these more stiff, more rigid carbon-plated shoes have become a bit weak. And there was a study that showed that carbon plates do actually offload the calves a bit, some low percentage, single-digit percentage that I don't remember offhand. I could feel it, though, in my own anecdotal experience of running in the Flex, that it was harder for me to run in it. It was just harder for me to run in the shoe than something like the Anta, which I ran in today, because I wanted to make this comparison to sort of try to make a point to the consumer out there. The point is a little bit nebulous, but the meditation is like, are we overdoing it on this type of shoe at the expense of our own strength? Or is this type of shoe not going to be able to provide as much comfort and enable you to run as much, right? So I don't think that if I had to run all my runs in the Brooks Glycerin Flex, I would be able to get as many miles in. It worked my legs more. Maybe I would get used to it eventually, sure, that is possible. But maybe the amount of load that a shoe like this is able to distribute and to absorb is just not quite up to the par of something like this. And I'm not even talking about simply plated versus non-plated here. I'm talking about, this is an old foam. And it's like, I was happy to report that this is bouncier than I expected, but at the end of the day, call it nitrogen infused, say you have different levels of bubble size in your foam. That's very cool. It's interesting tech. And that's another part of the reason that I got this shoe, is the DNA tuned. That's interesting to me. They're doing different sized foaming bubbles in different parts of the shoe to provide a specific ride. Awesome. I love it. But the way that it rode yesterday was firm by the end of the first run. The second run I did on a treadmill, so it wasn't actually so firm for that, but that was a miserable run. My legs were really exhausted. I was grumpy and exhausted, so I'm not trying to fault the shoe so much for it, but one thing that I can say about the shoe is that it made my lower legs work harder. And that's by design, right? So that's why that's not a knock against the Brooks Glycerin Flex. It's that we're at a crossroads between the more modern, the more tech-focused, the more innovative products, and the more like outdated products. And I'm not saying that the Brooks Glycerin Flex isn't innovative, but it didn't really feel innovative to me. And it feels like I might have been able to get a similar experience from a low to the ground like Ultra Escalante as I got from the Brooks Glycerin Flex. Granted, the Escalante would be lower to the ground than the Glycerin Flex, but it would probably even be more flexible than the Glycerin Flex. And it would weigh a lot less. And so I think that that's part of the issue that I have with the Flex, is that the weight is not justified in this package. It's like 280 grams. There's 277 and 287. So big weight disparity, and that's heavy. That's just heavy in today's market. Like the Puma Mag Max 2, which has almost 10 millimeters additional stack in the heel, and like by girth, like it's planetarily larger than the Brooks Glycerin Flex. And that weighs less than the Brooks Glycerin Flex, and it still has a comfortable upper. It's still a plush upper. It's not maybe as premium as this, but it's that the foam is better. And this DNA tuned, it's not to say that it's bad. The ride was nice. it sort of stopped being nice around 8 miles of the first run, right? So it firmed up a bit. I don't know if that's because it was cold outside. For me, typically when I'm running in shoes that are EVA, of course, they do break up, but normally by the end, towards the end of the run, the road friction has the foam heated up a bit more, not the other way around. So I can't say for sure if it was because it was cold. It was in the teens, so it was cold, right? So it could be that, but it felt firm from the beginning. From being in the house all the way through the run, it just felt like there was a fatigue to the foam by the end of the run. That was my experience of it. That's not to say also, like, I hit a fast stride in this, and that was fantastic. It felt very good underfoot. So more testing to be done on the Brooks Glycerin Flex for that. But when it comes to the Anta, like, I put this on, I got on the treadmill today, and it was incredible. From the moment that I started till the end of the run, I felt, very supported, propelled, bounced along, very comfortable in it. And yeah, like, the rigidity is something that I'm familiar with and I'm used to, and so it could influence my take here, right? Like, I have a lot of shoes that are similar in rigidity to this, so I am more familiar with running in rigid shoes than I am in highly flexible shoes. But that's the market in general as it stands. This is primarily the type of shoe that's available to most consumers, and this is different. And it was harder to run in. But I'm having a hard time parsing out how much it was the flexibility of this shoe versus the frankly outdated technology in it. And yeah, this is not the most structured way to say that there are different shoes for different people, and some people are going to get along with different shoes than other ones. I think that the market has moved past things like this, and it's disenfranchising to see a large company charge $170 for what is just an okay effort. Like, it's not actually really that innovative. Like, the Nike Free existed. There are other flexible shoes that exist. They might not be of this stack height and of this build quality, right? Like, but they do exist. I'm a little disappointed in the Brooks Glycerin Flex so far. I reserve my right to change my opinion on that, because I did have a few strides in this. Like, at the beginning, I had a little bit of a pace pickup, and then I did one quick stride down to 6:45 that had me feeling a little different about it. So more testing to come. But when it comes to the rigidity versus the flexibility in a shoe, it will work different muscles. And that was what I was experiencing yesterday and today, like between the 2 days. And it seems like right now my body is preferring the more rigid shoe. In conclusion, this is a comparison not of two shoes, or at least I tried not to make it of the two shoes. It's a comparison of engineering philosophies in running shoes. And there's the old guard, which is Brooks, that I've never actually run in a Brooks before until this shoe, but it felt like the old guard even in a brand new model. And then there's the new kids in town, the Antas, the Li-Nings, the Chowdans, the Puma to some extent. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but they're coming with new tech, the Asics, and they're innovating. They're creating new products that feel new, right, as well as maintaining their old line. It's crazy that this shoe feels like, back when I used to run cross country, it feels like this could have existed then. And it would have been completely in place with the market at the time, and it probably would have only cost $80, right? So this doesn't feel like a new shoe, really. Like, it's different than what I currently run in and what the majority of runners run in, and so it is guaranteed to be a new experience for you if you were to buy it right now, because not a lot of shoes are like this right now, but it doesn't feel new in the sense of anything that's a new technology or a thing that couldn't have been experienced 10 years ago. It's, at least the foam isn't bad. I'll give it that. And the Anta, it's the new kid on the block. It's got kind of everything you want for 130 bucks. Like, you can't actually do much better than this for $130 anywhere in the shoe market. It's a carbon plate with 2 layers of super foam, different densities, and a breathable upper at 220 grams that you could run any pace in. Crazy, right? Crazy that this is 130 and this is 170. It doesn't really compute to me. But I will say that I bet you the Brooks Glycerin Flex is healthier to run in. I bet you it'll be better for my legs if I ran more of my miles in the Brooks Glycerin Flex than in the Anta C202. Now, I have no data or science or any like biomechanical background at all to back up that statement, but this feels like a bit more of a natural running experience, and this feels technical. It might not even be the most technical shoe that I have. There are way more advanced foams and geometries that make other shoes feel way faster than the Anta C202, but you know, it feels assistive, and it feels like to some degree it does the running for you. And the Brooks Glycerin Flex feels like it's asking you to run more. Like, it's asking you to do more of the work. And that's the difference between the two. So I hope you enjoyed this. That was a very deep ramble. I'm grateful that I have found a community that's interested in this type of conversation. And I would love to hear about your opinions on everything that I just shared today. And I appreciate you for sharing those. So with that, stay in motion.
Molly is a ritter, I the notion. Molly's trying to get to stay in motion. But now you're putting wicked past the urge, you're on top. Can we stop that?